right, this is SFBarkast. I'm Jeff Cleary.
Go Hawks. I'm Andrew Lauder.
That is the sound of a proud Seahawks fan.
We're currently sitting in front of a Seattle Sounders scarf that says "Seattle till I die" on it.
I've never seen you, Andrew, jock your hometown so hard as today.
Something to do. Actually, the funny thing is that because of terrible superstition, I'm not wearing any Seahawks gear. I have a Sounders thing. I have a Sonics hat. I'm repping the city, not the team.
Do you have any Seahawks gear?
I do. I have a jersey. I have a T-shirt. I have a throwback hat. I have a regular hat.
So you buy all these things that you know you can never wear.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Well, no. I think this is the only time I'm exercising the actual superstition. I just came up with it for this event.
And so people know. I mean, I'm sure by the time this drops, everything will be over. But it is Super Bowl Sunday, and we want to do a before and after because you're from Seattle,
True.
And Seattle's never won a Super Bowl, and I wanted to do this just on the off chance that if they win, and by the way, they are going to win, and we'll do an after the game.
Well, I'll edit that part later to make you sound smart. Where if the Broncos win, I'll cut out the part where you say, "Well, of course the Seahawks are going to win," and then you look like a genius.
Well, you know what? I don't think we can go back because I have a whole speech about this. I've been being a huge loudmouth about how obvious it is to me that Seattle wins this game. People
it's not an unpopular sort of amongst people that sort of know what they're talking about and sportscasters and stuff like that. You'll find a few Skip Baylesses of the world that will that will suck Peyton Manning's dick till tomorrow evening.
Well, even it's sports, so you can always find somebody who will say what you want them to say. Right. But even Bill Polian, who what used to be the general manager of the Colts.
Archie Manning look-alike. Every time he comes on TV, I'm like, why are they interviewing Archie Manning?
Again,
Bill Polian. What?
Well, he's the one who drafted Peyton Manning. He's really close friends with Peyton Manning. And he just said everything I look at points to Seattle winning, even though I want my friend to win. Right. Peyton Manning.
Right. Well, and I'm sure Bill Polian was great GM and everything like that, but it shouldn't be number one on his resume that he drafted Peyton Manning. He went out on a limb. I'm gonna trust that this 6'9" guy, the son of a NFL quarterback, is okay.
Yeah, a fucking brain damaged ape could have picked Peyton Manning.
Well, let's talk to the San Diego Chargers and see what they think about Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, they came in at the same time, right?
Ryan Leaf came in at the same time as Eli Manning.
Oh,
so
okay.
And then basically Eli Manning said, "I'm not going to play in San Diego."
I remember being when the Patriots had the first pick in the draft this one year, and there were two quarterbacks coming out, and it was Drew.
I know who the second one was.
What?
I know who the second one was because he went to the Seahawks.
Oh, Rick Meyer?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it was Drew Bledsoe and Rick Meyer, and everybody in the New England area who loves Notre Dame. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you got to take the Notre Dame guy. And Bill Parcells just stepped in no, we're not doing that stupid shit. We're taking Drew Bledsoe.
Right. And it turned out okay for them.
It turned out okay for us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not for Ryan Leaf. But I remember the same kind of thing happened too with who was it? Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But there was another sort of one. Well, there was the famous year where was it Kelly Smith was number 3, and Trent Dilfer was 2, and number 1 was somebody that didn't even make it a year
Tim
in the league.
Couch or something like
Couch.
that.
It was Couch. Yeah, it was Couch, somebody else, and then fucking Keely Smith. And they all were just disasters.
I was reading in this magazine, they were ranking the worst teams of all time.
Okay.
And it's the Washington Federals from the USFL and all that stuff. But their number one worst team of all time is every single team in Cleveland. And Cleveland took Tim Couch as number 1 pick, and the guy didn't even make the fucking team.
Well, how long have the Cleveland Browns been back as a franchise? It's been a while now, right? 10 or 12 years at least. And accomplished nothing. And you would think that the way that they sort of weight it towards expansion teams and stuff like that, where it's even like, like the Panthers didn't take very long to get going. The Jaguars like had a couple good seasons. Like it seems like you have to really like fuck up a franchise. Hi, Minnesota Timberwolves, or Grizzlies. But like it's like if they give you a franchise, generally they give you a big leg up, and then you can like sort of if you know what you're doing. Like
the worst thing about this is like I was talking to Jim Tews, who is a Cleveland comic, and I asked him if he was a sports fan, and he's like, no, I can't do that. And I was telling him that I have like friends in San Francisco who are from Cleveland, and I was like, man, like their dedication to these teams that always let them down is absolutely amazing. They're just like.
Wait, I was in a fantasy football league with Jim Tews like 2 years ago, so he's
really?
a liar about not being interested in sports.
Well, maybe, I mean, that was
maybe
a while.
Just Cleveland sports.
Yeah, I think like he's kind of like being like, oh no, I like why would I be a Cleveland fan? Although, but my point was that like these people I know, they're this wellspring of optimism. Like if you go to the Kilowatt, we didn't even say where we are today.
Oh, we have returned to one of the first places we ever came to.
I'm sorry, listeners. Like as soon as we start talking about like sports, I'm just like, get out of my way. I'm gonna do this.
The great thing about this problem is that everyone had it solved the second they downloaded the episode, if they can read.
That's true.
So it's not no one's been sitting there going, where the fuck are they?
Andrew, what about the blind listeners?
I never think of the blind listeners. Like
well, it's about time you start.
I don't think of the deaf listeners either. Like, they have to read all of this. Can you imagine like somebody transcribing this and you having to read it and like make it sound entertaining?
The guy's transcribing it could be like, I could be reading Klingon right now, and it'll be more.
Like, I wonder how many people charged to transcribe our episodes have committed suicide.
All right, so if you go to the
So we're at the Gestalt House.
So we're at the Gestalt House. But if you go to the Kilowatt, and for Sunday,
looking at it right now,
the Cleveland little contingent they're so adorable because like every week they get really, really into it, and then they lose, and then they're just like, oh, you guys are so great.
It's like the little nerdy kid that picks on the hottest girl in class. You're just like,
like,
good
for this is never gonna happen.
That girl wouldn't go near you if it wasn't so adorable that you were even doing this.
So yeah, I wanted to do this because Seattle's never won a Super Bowl, and I remember not to sound like I remember when I didn't win a Super Bowl.
Back before you were, I guess you were 30 before you won your first Super Bowl.
It was 2002.
Oh, I was 30.
So
whatever,
I was 32.
33. Okay. I don't want to give away our age.
I mean, did I say 32? I meant 22.
Of course, we're 1980, born and bred.
But like people nowadays, like because Boston has won so many like championships, like people like don't understand what it was like before, like
that's
2002.
The thing, when a curse is lifted, like people are very quick to forget the curse,
right?
And forget that like people live through. I mean, like New York Rangers fans lived through like 50 years of like futility and like stuff like that, and I think in my mind anyway, there's always been a sort of back and forth conversation to be had over whether the worst luck sports city is either Cleveland or Seattle.
Ooh,
because
I wouldn't put Seattle up there.
But Seattle, I mean, like think about it. Like in the last 10 years, you have your basketball franchise is ripped away.
Yeah, that's
right as they get good. By the way,
yeah.
Like so you get the maybe one of the best 3 players in the last 20 years finally, and the team is ripped after his rookie year. So you get to see him, but then you get to see him really do well for another team.
That's a good trivia question. Who drafted Kevin Durant?
Yeah,
and it's it's not the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's the Seattle SuperSonics.
And lots of people still rep Durant Sonics jerseys, which I think is weird. But so you have that whole thing that happened. You have the Mariners that are just a fucking disgrace, and
but they had those. Yeah, that was disappointing.
Still no World Series even.
Yeah, remember that year that they won 111 games?
They bounced out by the Yankees.
They got bounced out by the Yankees in the first round.
Well, and then I think one of the years before that, when they were favored to sort of go a long way, they got beat out by the Cleveland Indians to go to the World Series. So there we go. I mean, Cleveland has had more success in sports aside from the 2007 Seahawks.
Well, the SuperSonics did go to the finals, but they ran into the Michael Jordan buzzsaw.
Right, and that was never going to happen. And
are you discounting the Sounders?
Did they win anything? I don't think they've won anything yet. But
by the way, one of the things I love about the Pacific Northwest is and you see this when I feel like when the Sounders play the Timbers.
Oh, it's amazing.
Which is the the Portland soccer team. Like those stadiums are sold out, and people just go crazy.
Well,
they should televise those games all the time.
Like I think that you can argue all you want about what drove the Sonics to move to Oklahoma City and sort of bad business deals and the league threatening if they didn't build a new stadium and all that kind of bullshit. But the fact that a city like Seattle that has Microsoft and Boeing in it and is full of money, a lot of money. The fact that they don't have an NBA franchise is laughable. I mean, that's insane.
I mean, and also Seattle's not that far from Vancouver. And Vancouver is a massive city, so they would have Vancouver would get on board with a Seattle basketball team.
And hey, mad props to Sacramento for keeping their team, and that's fine and everything like that. But the idea that that Sacramento has more
sway,
more stakes in the NBA than Seattle does is stupid. I mean,
there are two instances where it's just completely absurd that they don't have a sports franchise and the first one is LA, the football team.
Right, obviously.
And that's obvious. They say that whoever the person is who can bring a football team back to LA, they'll name streets after it.
Which to me makes no sense because there are people now with that kind of money in spades. If it would cost me $1.5 billion and I had it to build a massive ridiculous stadium in LA and be a hero for the rest of my life, I might do it.
Well, that's the rub where it's you have to build a new stadium because when the Raiders were there, if you talk to anybody from Los Angeles, they liked it when the Raiders left because the Raiders played in the LA Sports Coliseum which holds 100,000 people, and it is where they had the 1984 Olympics. And it was never sold out, so nobody in LA got to watch Raider games because they have blackout rules. So as soon as they moved back to Oakland, everybody in LA could watch the Raiders, and so you have to go down there and you build a stadium, 75, 80,000 people, so you can sell it out. And then everybody can watch it, and it's easy money. People.
Or do you go the other way? Do you make it so big and such an event that everybody has to be there because it's just this crazy 200,000 seat stadium or something like that?
I feel like people in LA wouldn't do that.
No,
because I feel like people in LA are a little bit more. They're fuck it, I'll just watch it from home on my HD wall-sized television.
There's a beginnings of a rail system in LA now. So you basically just you pick up a point where everybody can get there on a rail system in 30 minutes, and you'd be set. Because that's the thing about LA. Nobody wants to drive an hour and a half to South Central LA to watch sports and then drive 4 hours to get home.
Right.
That's a long goddamn day to watch 2 hours of sports.
Supposedly the guy who owns the St. Louis Rams has bought an enormous amount of land just recently in Los Angeles, and everybody says this has the fingerprints of moving the team to LA all over it because he bought enough land for a stadium and parking lots.
But you know what? Move the Arizona Cardinals back to St. Louis. Nobody's gonna care about that.
I don't give a shit. It would be sad for St. Louis because I know those people love their sports.
And to anybody who says well, but then what happens to Phoenix? Set it on fire and walk away. That's what I say.
Worst city in America. I'm sorry if we have anybody listening from Phoenix. I traveled across the country. I rode on a motorcycle 8,000 miles, and the worst city I was in was Phoenix, Arizona.
Right?
It was just everybody there was mad, and and when you're traveling, you want to talk to people and stuff, and it's that did not fucking fly at all. And you know what? I was in Tucson.
Yeah.
Everybody there's a sweetheart. Everybody there's great.
Yeah.
I went up to Flagstaff. Everybody there's just awesome.
Right, and they're all almost apologetic. Sorry about Phoenix. They're really fucking everything up for everybody.
Right. I spent one night in Phoenix, and I know small sample size, but I was determined to try to find somebody who was not angry, and I just came up snake eyes on it. And I was in Flagstaff the next night, and I said that to somebody. And he's from Arizona, and he was yeah, that's fucking Phoenix for you, man. He's everybody's mad there because they live in Phoenix.
Well, we'll have to have my cousin on the show sometime because he spent I think a good 3 or 4 years living in Phoenix, and recently moved to Alameda, and you've never heard anybody like more happy to be alive, or where it's just like another day in paradise. This is so fucking great. Like, a guy crossed the street and like I didn't want to kill him. Like, this is the best day I've ever had.
I know. Alameda is a really nice place, though. It's got the pinball museum. Okay, so.
But Phoenix
I go off on so many tangents. Okay, so we're at Gestalt House, and the first time we were here was a long time ago, and it was one of our first barcasts.
Right.
But I wanted to point out that they've made this one huge improvement in this bar.
Okay.
And it is that when we first came here like a year ago, they didn't have all these like pinball machines in the back.
Yeah,
now they have 5
they really
pinball
upped their
machines.
pinball game.
And they used to have a pool table up front here.
Oh wow!
And
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The pool table. Oh, well, you know what? The pool
Is that recent? That must be really recent.
No, it's like months.
Is it shit? Because like, I walked into this. I've walked past that pool table probably like 100 times.
Oh yeah.
And I walked by it today. I'm like, that same old Gestalt.
Well, I was talking to Justin, who's
Fucking
the bartender here, and I guess like they get their pinball machines and their pool table from this one place called Rainbow, whatever. Like they basically lease out.
Like the flag for the gay people.
Okay, Vince Lombardi.
We'll go into that later.
So like Justin was like, yeah, they wanted to get rid of the pool table because it just kind of like takes up a lot of space, and they can put more like tables in. They want this to be more of like a beer house, like
like
a
beer
beer
John
garden.
Tapper there. It's like the space is being misused. That pool table doesn't bring in any money.
Right. And I guess like Rainbow gave them a lot of pushback, where they were like, yeah, we're not going, like, we don't want to take out the pool table because it's like one of their highest. It sounds like bullshit.
Oh wait, so they were getting the money from the pool table as well?
Oh yeah.
Oh okay, that's
it's like
weird.
It's like a company that like they bring in the pool tables, they bring in the pinball games. I think they do like the jukeboxes as well.
Okay.
So anyway,
it's like a real racket to me.
Oh yeah, dude, the whole thing I
sound like an old man right now. It's not a racket.
According to like the bartender, he said like it made it sound like he was totally strong arming him, like being
sure
like,
they
oh no,
were,
we got to keep this pool table in here,
Like,
and these guys who are great.
Hey, we happened to know about a place last week that got rid of their pool table, burned down the next day. You don't want that to happen here, do you?
Nice place you got here. So what they did is they brought in a bunch of pinball games, and I have said this before, but pinball is my new most manageable addiction, and so many people.
I like the most manageable tech. I don't need to go to rehab for it. I love it.
There's no pinball rehab, although there should be.
No,
but it's funny. Like when
you had too much fun, great, good for you. Like you're good.
Once you get into something, once you start to nerd out on something, you realize there's a bunch of people like you, and I'll come down here and I was here once and I see this guy kind of like looking at me. He's just like. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? I'm like, I was playing my pinball game, and he kind of like strolls over. He goes, hey, I've been watching you play there. You're pretty good. You ever play in any tournaments? And I was like,
do these tournaments involve me putting on a mask and blowing you?
He's like, yeah, exactly. It's like in my mind, I'm thinking, isn't this how Kingpin started? You want to make some supplemental income on the side? So
hey, I'll help you save your farm there, kid.
But seriously, like, yeah, he was just like a nerd, pinball nerd, and he's like, let me tell you, I got into pinball. Me and my wife got into pinball a little while ago, and we didn't think we were good enough to play in tournaments, and we play in tournaments now. And he's like, I've been watching you. You're good enough to play in tournaments.
It's like reenacting like The Color of Money.
Right,
Like, you're gonna like go on the road with Paul Newman. You're like, there's a time you got to turn off your pinball, and time you got to turn it on. It's like, you've heard of like the Two Brothers and a Stranger pinball game?
I should have been like, sorry, mister, I just play for the fun. You're like, you can make some real money if you want.
You're walking away from millions, you sucker.
All right, let's take a break. I think
we should.
Yeah. We'll be back from Gestalt House on Super Bowl Sunday.
I rep them Seahawks, 12 man, we in the building. Now line them teams up and Seahawks kill them. I represent for my city team, green and blue. Ain't no stopping us now, they see us coming through. Seahawks, 12 man, we in the building. Now line them teams up and Seahawks kill them. I represent for my city team, green and blue. Ain't no stopping us, now they see us coming through. Yeah, They see us creeping up slowly. Who gon' be my next opponent? Show me. Seahawks never scared, homie. We about it. We put a stop on any team, homie. Ask about me. Home of the 12 man. Yeah, stand up. NFC West lock, no problem.
All right, and we are back on Super Bowl Sunday
Yeah, so far at the Gestalt House, but
at Gestalt House.
but later elsewhere, like jail or like a strip club, depending on how it goes.
how will your life change, Andrew, if like you see your football team win their first Super Bowl?
Good Lord, it'll make all of that, all of those dreary, rainy days in Seattle worth it.
I used to joke that with my dad when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl. He's like, he's at the stadium. And he's just like, this makes up for a lifetime of disappointment. My son's a stranger.
This makes up for a lifetime of bad parenting. I finally made you happy, son, through my team.
This is such a wonderful day. It reminds me of when my kids were born. Donnie, Jesse, Keith, and that other guy.
Tom Brady, I think, is his name. We're in like hour 3 of the pregame show at this point.
My God,
and they're really running out of ideas.
I really can't wait for this game to start because it's just like the lead up, 2 weeks of fucking lead up and analysis. It's just like, come on, let's play the game.
Right.
But I will say this about like when your team wins, and like I was saying, like a lot of people think that like Boston sports, because they've been so successful in the last 10 years, that they don't remember before the lean times where it was just like they were like all the Boston sports teams were like heartbreakers, like except for the Celtics, and because the Red Sox would go to the World Series and get beat, Patriots would go to the Super Bowl and get steamrolled by the
which is
the
almost
Bears.
because when we talk about like cities like Cleveland and Seattle and stuff like that, they never. Like, they hardly ever go to the championship game.
Right.
And it's almost more depressing if your team always goes and then just never, and always finds a way to choke it away. Whereas, if your team is always mediocre, you can sort of count on it. But it's like when your team constantly, brings you back in and says, we're going to do it this year, and then, kicks you off a high building.
Although I will say, somebody, made this point, that someone said something about, the last 2 Super Bowls Tom Brady was in that he lost.
Yeah.
And some jackass on ESPN said, I'd rather not go to the Super Bowl if I'm going to lose. And it's that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
You still have a Super Bowl appearance,
right.
That's kind of like this.
Well, and it's one of those, that's totally impossible. It's one of those things where, I wish I knew the outcome of everything so I could only do the things that were good.
Right.
It's everybody does. No one wants to go to a Super Bowl and lose, idiot.
I guess sports analysis is not rational, but so the Boston sports teams have had a lot of success. And I was talking to my friend Dave recently, and he was very, very happy that the Red Sox won the World Series last year. And his daughter looked at him and said, "Oh wait, don't they win every year?" And he's just like, "Oh my God, you live in a different world, little girl."
Well, and I should tell our listeners that last 35 seconds of dubstep music was courtesy of GoPro.
Oh, GoPro,
and we didn't mix that in an attempt to be cool.
Yeah, I don't know. People haven't been able to explain to me what dubstep is.
It's well, you know what? It's basically techno, but with sort of a
heavy beats.
Well, no, but more goofy computer sounds, or sort of almost scratchy low, sort of sort of shit in it.
Yeah, it's like Aphex Twin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You got it.
But when people were first trying to explain dubstep to me, they're saying oh yeah, it's kind of like reggae.
No, it's not.
And then I heard some of it, and I'm like, this is the same electronica that I used to listen to in the late '90s.
Idiots.
Yeah.
What do they know?
Yeah, it's what's his name? Richard James from Aphex Twin. I can't remember. Maybe I'm getting that wrong.
Dick James.
Dick James.
Still is a good man.
Still is a good man. Also, I want to bring up, and this is like a sad note. Like this is Super Bowl Sunday, and Philip Seymour Hoffman died today.
I cannot believe you broke this news to me. Like,
I can't believe you didn't know that.
It's very rare, actually. Now that I think about it, it's very rare that like I have news broken to me by people.
Right?
Isn't that weird? I mean, like it's just like, and it's like remarkable to the point where I'm like, holy shit! Like I didn't read about that on Twitter. Like I got to get a new Twitter.
You're like, yeah, internet, you failed me.
Exactly. It's like, well, so long, Facebook. I thought I could count on you, but like, I'm gonna have to go to like Snapchat for my news now.
But like, yeah, like really sad. Like actually, I woke up and like looked at my phone, and my friend Jen had just wrote Philip Seymour Hoffman, like frown emoticon, and I was like, what the
I'm
fuck
on board.
I was like,
these last 3 moves have been really disappointing.
I was just like, wait a minute, I thought you liked him. Like, like jumping off his like. And then
you're like looking up what his most recent movie was. God, that must have been terrible. Like,
but like, yeah, really, really sad. He was a great. I had heard if like I found out that somebody I've never met and he's a celebrity knew that he was had a heroin addiction, then it must have been pretty prevalent, you know. But
what are you gonna do?
Okay, so
you gotta pick your battles. You gotta do your heroin later in life. Because like heroin will kill you. So, like, do that last. Is my motto.
I heard it's not. I'm gonna sound like the worst person in the world there, but I hear it's manageable because, like, someone told me that Tom Petty has a 30-year heroin addiction, but it's just manageable. At this point, he's just like, yeah, I just needed a little bit, which like totally like makes like Free Falling seem like, oh yeah, it's perfect. Like, that sounds like a song.
If you think about it, like the heroin problem only becomes problematic if you take too much and die or you can't afford it.
Right.
So like if you can like just blaze the eye of that needle or whatever like that, where it's like you have as much as you want and like you can afford what you want, then what's ever gonna like interrupt that train?
So to speak. The other like real. I mean, we're trying to. I'm trying to categorize what's wrong with heroin.
Right.
Like the other really.
Because I'm not seeing it.
Exactly, you're not selling me. The other really bad thing about like heroin stories, like I've never done heroin, and like but I know people who've done it, and it seems like it's a bitch to sort of kick.
Oh, yeah,
but there's this like Bela Lugosi was a heroin, and he was a junkie too. Like, and some of my favorite parts of Ed Wood, where like he's just like they're trying to like shoot a scene, and he's like, I'm too tired, Eddie, I can't do this. And he's like, well, we have to do it tonight. And like Bill's like, just give me a minute. And he just goes and shoots up, and he comes out, and he's just like, all right, let's shoot this bitch. So Lenny Bruce used to do a joke about Bela Lugosi, like in his heroin habit.
Right.
And he said it was always the worst advertisement for cleaning up from doing heroin because he had a heroin problem for like decades, and then as soon as he tried to clean up, his body like couldn't handle it, and he died of a heart attack.
Right.
And this is like we just found out about Philip Seymour Hoffman. So, but like
we're already making excuses.
But I do know that last year he checked himself into rehab.
Yeah.
So I would hate to think that like he's trying to get his life together, and then his body has like this Bela Lugosi reaction where it's like, well, I need my heroin or I'm out of here.
Right. Well, I think that, there's definitely something to be said for. I mean, like if you go
cold
to someone, if you go to someone who like sort of knows what they're doing. I mean, like obviously, if you go to like a rehab center, their whole like experience is going to be like, well, just stop it immediately and like and deal with it. But
there's some drugs you can't go cold turkey on. You have to like ramp down.
Totally, and if you're combining them with like psychiatric drugs and stuff like that, and you just like quit everything, your fucking brain will explode.
I had a friend who got addicted to benzos, I think it's called, and which is like Xanax and like anti-anxiety drugs, and it's when he had to go into rehab to get off of it, he said they would give him like 3 or 4 different drugs just to sort of ramp him down.
Oh,
and he said those drugs were as bad as the Xanax, like withdrawals.
Right.
That's like a really that's like a really unfair sort of addiction to have. Right. I feel like if you get, because like Xanax is like an anti-anxiety thing, and it's like super mild. Like I've done it, but like you're only supposed to take it like as needed.
Yeah.
And like not you're not supposed to take it for more than 7 weeks.
Right.
The guy I know, he was taking it like 3 times a day for 7 years, and he was taking it for like so long that like back then he feels like cheated by like the doctors because they didn't tell him like how addictive it was. It's like being like getting like addicted to like gum, you know. It's like something that like you just like never think of.
Right. Well, that makes me want some gum. We should take a break.
All right, let's take a break. That was the sad section.
Yeah. Aside from the mention of gum, gum's always fun.
That's the sad block of this podcast. All right, so Philip Seymour, what's your favorite Philip Seymour Hoffman scene
Favorite scene?
or movie or?
I enjoyed what is it, Cynic Doce, New York, or whatever that was called.
Yeah, the one with who directed that? Charlie Kaufman.
Yes. I like that movie a lot.
I was like thinking about this morning, and my favorite scenes are either the one from Boogie Nights where he hits on like Dirk Diggler.
Right. We've all been there.
Because my favorite line is he tries to kiss him, and Dirk's like, "Come on, Scotty, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Can I kiss you?" And Dirk's like, "No." He's like, "Well, do you want to kiss me?" Like it's a totally different action. Right. And then like he has that meltdown in the car, which is so heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'm so stupid." Either that or any scene from Happiness. As you said, like probably the most misnamed movie of all time. Like there's a scene where he's calling Laura Flynn Boyle and he's like, prank calling her, and he's just like, "I'm gonna fuck you so hard, you're gonna come out your brains," and all this stuff. And it's just like he's so good in it, and he's so pathetic in this character. Oh.
All right. Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, really.
All right, we'll be back.
PSH. R.I.P.
R.I.P. All right, we'll be back from Gestalt House.
If the Aurora Bridge fell down, we couldn't ride our scooters over there. If the Space Needle crumbled into the ground, you get the feeling that no one would even care. Oh, this Seattle town is just a growing by leaps and bounds. But did you ever stop to think about what would happen if the Aurora Bridge fell down? If Gasworks Park stayed closed, where would you go when you wanted to fly a kite? If Giorgio's turned into a fast food joint, the price of martinis would skyrocket out of sight. In this Seattle town, we seem to take a lot for granted now. But did you ever stop to think about what would happen if the Aurora Bridge fell down? The Aurora Bridge is falling down.
All right, and we are back. And Andrew, the Super Bowl is over, and you,
What a drag.
personally, was very victorious.
I was. I enjoyed the outcome. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I found it to be a non-stressful experience as far as Super Bowls go.
Oh my God, I've had like checkups with doctors that are more stressful than that Super Bowl.
Well, exactly. Like it was.
And I'm actually glad. I mean, like, of course you won because it's your favorite team of your youth, but also I won because I've been mouthing off about how Seattle was going to win all week.
Well, I'm glad that your mouthing off was
It's
fruitful.
hard to tell who really won here. You, who's a diehard fan, or me, who's just a loudmouth guy in a bar.
I shout more, so I think that it's probably a bigger deal for me.
I had more to lose because people would have, like, said bad things about me or, like, hated me.
Is it like, hey, how does it feel to be all wrong about things and stuff of that nature?
How has your life changed in the short time that your team has won the Super Bowl?
Thanks to the guidance of Russell Wilson, I have accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Russell Wilson, yeah. Man, like, he is definitely a game manager, as they say about, like, I mean, I was looking at his stats after the game, and it's like, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, but, like, he's you know, he didn't turn the ball over, and
Exactly. Like, yeah, he's
exactly what you need. Like, he's not
a real soldier in Christ.
I mean, like he's not like this, like, you know, superstar that overwhelms you with his ability. But guess
Right.
what? On the other side of the ball, that was supposed to be Peyton Manning, and Peyton Manning looked like my ass shitting today.
So, once again, I think we're about 5 minutes into the segment. We should probably tell people where the fuck we are.
All right, so this is a theme. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so of course,
Right.
everybody, we're very distracted. We're no longer at Gestalt House.
No, sir.
We are at Dear Mom on
Indeed.
16th and Harrison.
And this place has been, I wouldn't say reviled or anything like that. I mean, like, but for instance, former podcast, the Mission Hill Saloon.
Mission Hill Saloon, where I was last night.
Exactly. That place taken over by the crew here at Dear Mom's.
Who are the people who own Dear Mom?
I
Are
have
they
no
like?
idea. I think there's a guy named like Bob or.
I think his name's Chad. He's really into he's
got like a.
really into tech stocks.
He's got kind of a cool mustache, but like it's not. It's you want to say it's ironic, but it's kind of post-ironic.
I do have like one story about this, not this bar, but this location.
Okay.
It used
I
to
should
be.
finish that thought really quickly.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The guys that owned this place tried to like take over the Mission Hill Saloon,
Right.
which was before Sadie's Flying Elephant, and then kind of failed miserably. And the name of that bar was like the
Inevitable Love Life. Of
Uneventful
Evelyn
Love
Lee.
Life of Evelyn Lee.
Kevin, you want to come in? Okay, we have our I want to say special guest, but really guest.
not
Kevin
special.
Montgomery.
So-
and I want to also point out
Chomping at the bit.
that I do believe that this means that Kevin is pulled ahead of Joe Gorman as the most our favorite guest.
For the listeners at home, not favorite, most
Not favorite.
A great day for
least
the
favorite, but most frequent.
most
a great day for
frequent
the
guest.
Seattle Seahawks and for Kevin Montgomery.
Well, I was just saying I'm patting myself in the back right now. So
I think you
for the
had to
listeners
dislocate
at
your
home.
shoulder doing
So,
that.
or,
You do not have your back mic.
My arms aren't long enough. Anyways, it was called The Unresolved Love Life of Evelyn Lee.
Oh, there we go.
Which was like, I mean, when you're drunk, that's like a really hard thing to say.
Like, there's not even a contraction. Like, hey, meet me at the
Meet me at the Love Life.
Evelyn
Right.
Lee or Love Life or the Unresolved.
Meet me at the bar with the most pretentious name ever.
Right, exactly.
That would work too.
I'll be the guy drinking the $12 cocktail.
exactly.
But like to me, like what was amazing about that transfer of ownership was that like Mission Hill Saloon went from like a pretty like well-attended bar.
Right.
And as soon as it just changed owners, they did no remodeling. All they did was just change owners, and all of a sudden, every time you'd go there, there'd be no one there. And
Yeah.
then they like sold it back to like some of the old crotchety regulars that used to
Right.
go to it when it was Mission Hill Saloon, and now it's like busy again.
Right.
It's like just their stench like ruined that place.
And when we were there, I think we talked about how like it's only in San Francisco can like, and we should celebrate this because there's so many bars that are getting taken over and becoming like $12 cocktail bars. But like only in San Francisco would be like, you know what, this isn't working out. Let's sell it to the barflies, and the barflies are like, oh yeah, we got the $2 million like just laying around over here,
Right.
and
sitting on this rental property that like I could probably sell and make like $6 million off of.
but it's like a reverse gentrification. Like these people who
Right.
come in and they swoop down and they make like they take like bars and turn them into I don't know.
It gives us hope.
It gives us hope.
Yeah, like
But now let's go back to the assholes that own this place.
All right, so this place. All right, here's my only story about this place. Before it was Dear Mom, it was like this kind of reggae island theme.
El Rincon.
El Rincon, yeah.
Okay.
And I did a comedy set here once, and this is the only time this has ever happened to me. I was on stage and I told some joke, and some guy just stood up and made that sort of not that throat slash like gesture, but he did that thing like with his neck where you just like wave your hand like this sucks, get off the stage. And I think he even like did this.
Cut it out.
You pointing me off the stage. And I was just like, this is like an open mic. Like
Right.
I'm getting kicked off the stage for telling a bad joke in an open mic. It's like,
Like, was it specifically about him or anything, or was it just like?
no, I did some joke about. I'll remember the joke at some point.
Well, you remember? Do you know why El Rincon closed, right? Like
Wait.
a cop got like shot outside that bar, and so the city is like, yeah, well, anyways, we'll be taking your liquor license.
Holy shit! Like, well, why didn't they do that to the Double Dutch?
Wait a minute. Are you now? I'm kind of remembering this. Did he get shot or did he get stabbed?
Okay,
I
a
think
cop,
he- I
a
think he
cop
got
was
knifed.
He got stabbed and shot.
yeah,
got
was
the worst.
Regardless, it was like people were not happy about it.
Right.
You gotta be. I mean,
And they
okay.
blamed it on the Caribbeans. They said,
I
put
know,
a goddamn
exactly.
American bar with
Yeah.
mom and apple pie in here.
all those like troublemakers like Kevin Monroe out there, like those Caribbean guys.
Bob Marley, that goddamn, what did he do?
But like, I wonder.
that's why when it changed ownership, there was no like, oh wow, this is a gentrification problem. Like everyone's just like,
Right.
yeah, that bar was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, well, I guess like some like,
Well,
you know,
kind of fucked up. Like, I wonder if the cop was in like his uniform or not, because you gotta have some
I
big
think
Sam
he's-
Cassell balls to like try to stab or shoot a cop in uniform.
Like,
yeah, I agree.
And that's what the kind of place it was.
unless he deserved it.
Well-
Which means I'm totally on the other guy's side.
Seahawks.
Russell Wilson, peace out.
I will say that, and I said this to you earlier, Andrew.
Yeah.
It was the easiest fucking Super Bowl you're ever gonna get. Like,
Yeah,
you didn't burn any calories worrying about if you're gonna win or not.
Short of, what was it, Redskins, Broncos, or you know, like,
I
a lot
believe
of those
the
blowout
biggest
Super Bowls.
blowout was the Niners. I forget who they beat.
Broncos.
Yeah, I think it was
Niners
the Broncos.
beat the Broncos.
Yeah, it was like 55-10 or something like that.
Basically,
oh,
the Broncos
Denver.
just choked
so
in
many,
the
like,
playoffs.
yeah, like,
Except for when
Yeah, well-
LA's last 2 years, yeah.
hey, but they got legal weed, so fuck it.
I was amazed at how many like people were like playing it up. Like the two states that have legal weed are now
Right.
playing each other in the Super Bowl. Get it? Oh.
Smoke a bowl, Super Bowl.
All right.
I don't know if you guys made the mistake of following Twitter during the game, but since the game itself wasn't that interesting,
Right.
I like checked in and like there are all these people like, oh, Colorado legalizes weed. Next thing you know, they're choking in the Super Bowl. You think it's a coincidence? And like, first of all, if you think Peyton Manning was sparking up like before the game, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Second
Right.
of all, if you
did
don't
it on
also
the
know that
bus.
Seattle now has legal weed, you're also a fucking idiot. And breaking news: people on Twitter are fucking idiots. Like.
Well, it's like the people who like comment on Deadspin articles. Like,
Right.
it's basically like entry level like joke writing, and it's all like wordplay and stuff. And you're just like, come on, dude, like knock it off.
Yeah, like let's find a kitten gift to summarize this like racist outburst by a quarterback or something. Yeah, it's just like
Twitter full of idiots. You want to take a break?
oh yeah, let's take a break. All right, so we'll come back and we're going to talk about Dear Mom when we come back.
I can't
Why
wait.
not?
The bar.
Like, if we can get over this Super Bowl mania.
I know.
We're all still wound up from that exciting game.
Dude, like Andrew, you still have some confetti in your hair. All right, we'll be back.
That's
at
not
Dear Mom.
confetti.
The Seahawk wave is rolling, rolling. The Seahawk wave is rolling, rolling. The wave is rolling in. The Hawks are gonna win. The Seahawk wave is getting stronger, stronger. The Seahawk wave is getting stronger, stronger. The tide is rushing in. The Hawks are gonna win. You can't stop the ocean. You can't stem the tide. You can't stop the Hawks when they start to rise. The Seahawk wave is getting higher, higher. The Seahawk wave is getting higher, higher. The wave is rolling in. The Hawks are gonna win.
All right, and we are back at Dear Mom.
Wrapping it up. Super Bowl Sunday. World champs.
Andrew, how's your mom doing?
You know I never talk to my mother.
Same here.
I'm sure she's fine. She's a rock.
I'm trying to like.
She's in Arizona.
trying
I'm sure I'll hear
I'm
if
trying to
anything's
work
no
in
good.
the name of the bar. It sounds like a stupid name for a bar, isn't it? Like, hey, here's a bar called Dear Mom.
No, like
Right.
when I'm getting shit faced, the last thing I want to think of is like writing into my mother. It's like I would be terribly embarrassed if she saw what I'm doing right now,
I
which is
would be.
being like filthy drunk on a Friday night. Like,
Right.
why the hell do you want to invoke the mother?
I think my mother would just be like proud that I'm keeping it in check enough to still be alive.
But yeah,
At least that's the way I choose to look at it.
sure. It's like, if you're like drunk and you're making a sloppy play at some like last call, like
Romance,
floozy,
yeah.
you're just like, oh right, now I'm gonna think about my mom because I'm at Dear Mom's.
But like what I mean, like this place is much larger than I thought it would be. First of all,
Really?
like I thought it was just like
so
the
Andrew,
corner place. Like
This is the first time you've been here?
yes.
Okay.
My virgin mother.
Well, first Super Bowl, first time here at Dear Mom. Pretty good. Yeah.
Gross.
So I'm interested. Your first time, you think it's a pretty big place. Like,
yeah.
Now their bar though is in. I feel like their bar is such a bad use of space though.
It's kind of a Cheers bar, though. If you look at it, like it sort of it has that that sort of like almost U shape, but like outward. But I don't know, like
it's like a crappy V or something.
But I think okay. Here's my first thought is that they you could seat a lot more people in here than they currently have
Right.
furniture for. So and they have this like sort of big giant picnic table like in the middle here that's just sort of taking up space and daring people to sit across from people they don't know, which like
Right.
I kind of don't like.
Yeah.
But
Oh, so this is what I'll say about like what you have. It is a big place, and it's kind of nice to be in a big place because
Sure.
in San Francisco, like space is at a premium.
yeah.
Okay, and I feel like they're trying really well. They have a foosball table,
Yeah.
they have a pinball table, they have a jukebox. I don't know what's over there, but I think
It's
there's
like a
more.
private events back room.
Oh, they have like
Okay.
a big buck hunter.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so they have this like pinball table, and not to just because I'm into pinball, but it's like it's been broken for like
6 months.
6 months.
Right. So
Like,
do you think that they're like ahead of the curve, ironic, where they're like, oh yeah, the next wave is going to be broken pinball, but you guys haven't discovered it yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. I like the fact they have like foosball, because I used to be a foosball, magician.
Right.
But like, yeah, I don't know. What about the food? We had something to eat. Okay.
I just want to talk about the space a little bit for a
Sure,
second.
okay,
Like,
yeah.
it's a big space, but like, if you ever come here at a time that like resembles popular, like we're
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like 8 p.m.
I am
or
totally
whatever.
Right.
willing
It's
to
like
like
Sunday
admit.
night.
It's not even 8. It's like
Right.
it's totally dead in here. Like you can move around. It's like comfortable.
Yeah.
Like
at Farrell's after hours.
if you come here on like a Wednesday, a Thursday, or especially like a Friday or Saturday,
Right.
it feels. It feels like a middle school dance.
Right,
Like
right.
everyone is. I don't know. It's just sweaty and uncomfortable, and they have this like
Yeah.
bar that takes up like almost like a solid quarter of the
Yeah,
floor
like,
space
like if this place was
unnecessarily.
packed, crowded, like that bar would be kind of annoying because it would just be like
Yeah. Oh, it
filled to
is.
the brim. Like
Yeah.
there's so many places for people to stand to order a drink that like there's no way more like less than 5 bartenders are going to be able to like get to anybody.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know what? Like, there's no way for me to say this without like sounding kind of like a hater.
Right.
But like the few times I've been here, it's been kind of a scene. Like
Okay.
I've lived
Yeah, yeah.
in this neighborhood for like a long time, and I come down here and I don't know anybody, and everybody's
Right.
kind of like haughty or like just like giving me
Yeah.
just kind of like, who are you? And I'm just like, I'm the guy who lives here. like
It's lived here longer
I
than
feel
you've
like
been
there's
alive.
maybe I'm like sounding like an insecure person, but like it's totally a scene. The few times I've come
Yeah.
down here when it's crowded.
Like,
You know what I mean?
I mean, it feels like there's like, it feels like there's like a tech community meetup in here every single night I come here.
Yes.
Well,
Well, exactly.
look, I can't attribute this properly, and I wish I could, but like one of my favorite jokes about this place is someone tweeted out saying, "Dear Mom," like I'm not doing it justice, but they said like, "Dear Mom" is a bar for people that have lived in San Francisco for less than 6 months. And that's like,
Right.
I mean, I really, like, honestly can't think of a better way to describe its
Yeah,
clientele.
that's pretty good. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I would agree with that.
it's not like one demographic belongs to it, but except
Right.
for people that like haven't lived
Well,
here.
there's
very
certainly
long.
there's no history or culture behind it. I mean, it's fairly
Yeah.
brand new, so it's like, there's
Yeah,
not.
it's totally brand new.
Yeah.
Although, so
But going to the food.
the food.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so like we just ate during the break.
Yeah.
And
It was kind of a Super Bowl menu, which like maybe I can cut them a little bit of slack or whatever. I mean, like I enjoyed it; it was fine, but it was the primary menu item for the evening was tater tots.
I know, and it's like one of the things we've talked about this before, where it's like the mission is like fucking
Tater tot
glorious
central.
about taking stuff that's really, really cheap and making it expensive.
Yeah, like if you could make a gourmet mayonnaise sandwich, like that'd be like everybody would go nuts over it.
You know, can we take a break and then then we'll come back and then we'll finish this conversation about like the tater tots.
So, if we'll table it for now.
Okay, yeah, well, let's put a pin in it and we'll be right back. By the way, those are all the cliches I've learned from working at Gap.
Right.
Put a pin in it. We'll table that. He's a confirmed bachelor.
Think outside of the envelope and so on.
All right, we'll be back from Dear Mom. Back at Dear Mom.
Woohoo!
Dear Mom.
Home of the world champions, Seattle Seahawks.
They actually, Kevin,
or at least me.
Before we came down here, you saw like a tweet from them. They're like, "Hey, everybody, come down and celebrate the Super Bowl like results." And we come down here and there's fucking nobody here.
He showed up in drove.
Yeah,
You have
we like flocked here. We're like, well, fuck, dude, we better fly like fucking Seahawks over to Dear Mom,
Right, like-
see the celebration, and
Like-
it's just like a bunch of like.
We better try to duck under the
lame-ass
bouncer when he's
nobodies in
busy like
beanies.
holding everybody else away.
Yeah, it was just like, oh my god. I was like, oh yeah, this place is gonna be packed. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah, it's packed with dead air.
Super
That's
Bowl
what-
Sunday's a long day for the world weary alcoholic.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's just kind of grim here. I mean, it's like a Sunday night. It's like
Right.
nobody like really just like yeah,
It's like-
whatever.
All the people who's like heroin wore off 3 hours ago, or like
Oh, too early.
Staggering
Too
oh,
soon.
well,
Now,
no,
like,
I'm not talking
didn't
about
even
Phil
say-
Michael Thomas or whoever died today.
Phil Michael Thomas. Phil Michael Thomas played Tubbs.
Yes, I
in,
know. That's
in
why it's a
Miami
real
Vice.
tragedy that he died today.
Yeah, this. Yeah.
So like yeah, like now I feel like every time someone mentions heroin, it's going to be a Philip Seymour Hoffman.
See, I got you.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
gonna do it for the rest
I
of your life?
retract, I retract all that.
I disagree. Like Cobain was a fucking like massive smackhead. Like,
Although he didn't die from like a heroin overdose, he died from
shotgun on the mouth
What's
overdose.
that?
he supposedly had so much
a lead
heroin in
infection?
his.
Yeah, missing mandible.
Yeah, well, he died by Courtney Love. I mean, what's
Well, yeah, I mean,
kind of
that is
reasonable.
sad.
Of course, he like shot him right in the face. But
that Cobain didn't live long enough to see the Seahawks win the Super Bowl.
could have really brought him out of that funk.
I'm really. I'm.
Thanks a lot, Seattle.
He'd be writing like happy songs tomorrow. I'd be like, all right,
It's like
Aberdeen's the greatest
You,
place
you
ever.
know what, honestly, though, like, he would have been fucking playing the Super Bowl this year instead of the Red Hot Chili Peppers if he was still alive. So, like, honestly, at a certain point, I just feel like it was for the best.
Did you see like what was it at the
Chili
Grammys or whatever like that when what is it like Novoselic and
Chris Novoselic.
and Dave Grohl like backed up Paul McCartney and like Chris Novoselic looks ridiculous. He looks like some kind of like steampunk nightmare, like where he's
Really?
yeah, he's got like the full like sort of barber goatee and like top hat and suspenders.
My favorite memory of Chris Novoselic is that like there was like some performance where
Oh, I remember
he's
this.
really getting into it, and like he's the bass player for Nirvana,
Right.
and he's really getting into it, and like as like the song is like wrapping up, he throws his bass up in the air. And like doesn't realize where he threw it, and it comes down and hits him right on the head, and he falls down. And then as Cobain's like leaving the stage, like Chris is like on his hands and knees, and Cobain just goes, "Oh, this is like a great time for me to kick my bass player in the ass." And he like, kicked him in the ass, and then walked off stage. It was like on national television.
He was a visionary. He knew what he was
Yeah,
doing.
Exactly. Well, we can't pretend to know what's going on in the genius's mind.
Exactly.
So this bar and the food.
Like,
The peanut gallery.
The thing is, I just realized that like the menu says that like this is the Beaver Cafe presents, so it might not even
Say
be their
Beaver
food.
or
necess-
Beaver?
Beaver.
Well,
if
so
it was the
it-
Beaver Cafe, we wouldn't need
Beaver
beer.
Cafe.
it's worth noting that this place never has their own like cooks. It's always like a
Oh, okay.
roving pop-up.
Oh, so it's a
okay.
pop-up, yeah.
All right.
So like basically they attempted to, I don't know, my understanding is they attempted to do food and they're like, wow, we're like we're already terrible at serving drinks. We're terrible
might
at
as
serving
well-
food. Let's focus on one thing we're terrible at, which is serving drinks, and we'll just let like more competent people worry about the food situation.
How about if we bring in pop-up chefs and all go kill ourselves? What do you say?
Like, let's double down on terribleness.
We're the worst. I don't think suicide's good enough for us.
It's Dear Mom is an appropriate name because this is the kind of this is the sort of thrown together twee hipster bar that I imagine my mom would think is I'm gonna open a bar for young people. I think this is how it would look. And it's accurate. It's
I think my mother would put a lot more turquoise and sort of desert colors.
Yeah, my mom would have little crystal figurines everywhere.
It's like she would bring back the lottery ticket special
actually,
that the hotspot had though.
I don't know what's worse, the hotspot dying or Philip Seymour Hoffman. They both hurt my heart.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman never gave me a lottery ticket and a shot.
That's true.
So you
but
know where my allegiances lie.
That's true, but I always thought he would.
No, you know what? If I met him in person, I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
They'd be like, "Hey, Andrew, it's nice to meet you. Here's a lottery ticket."
I'd be like, thanks, man. You're a good guy. I always knew it. Ever since I saw Boogie Nights, I thought you were a stand-up guy.
I actually
happiness.
That's the one thing this bar could do to really change the trajectory of this place.
Yeah.
It's just instead of having this bullshit $8 whiskey PBR special, just
bullshit.
getting a vending machine of scratchers.
Wait, so what is their special?
So their special is a shot of whiskey with this 16-ounce PBR for $8.
That's not a bargain.
That's not a good deal. You can get a beer and a shot pretty much anywhere for on any day of the week for $6.
Well, it's if they're going to do PBR, they're telling you they're giving you the cheapest thing they can.
You can also
get.
smuggle in your own liquor if you really want a cheap deal.
yeah.
It's a
Which will
Barcast exclusive.
Which, by the way, will get you kicked out of bars, as Andre Parker,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He talked about how he got kicked out of a bar because he brought in his own bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
This is actually one thing I have done that at Bender's Whiskey Wednesday, home of the famous generous shot of whiskey and beer for $5.
Oh, yeah, Bender's is amazing.
I once brought in this is back when I was really broke. I once brought in an entire flask of whiskey to Whiskey Wednesday so I could keep refilling my whiskey
why not?
shot. And then I was doing this and I was like, wow, what kind of dirt bag has to bring in their own whiskey to Whiskey Wednesday, and then I never did that again.
$5. I'm not a fucking Rockefeller. I'm gonna bring in my own bottle of Old Crow.
In a weird way, and I am speaking from experience, bars don't like it when you bring your own alcohol.
Yeah, you know what? I think there was a period there when we were quite fond of the airline bottles and these sort of
The little
Robert
nips.
De Niro taxi driver quick change pour your own thing, but.
Yeah, you're basically like Spider-Man, only instead of webs, you're just webs and justice. You're dispensing drunkenness.
Right, you're like an alcoholic Spider-Man, which is totally fine.
Pouring vodka into your eyes like any normal person.
I just want to what did you guys think of the food?
Oh, I thought we went over the food.
Well, no.
I
So here's my thing. I didn't really.
I mean, we talked about the pop-up nature of it, but tonight's food, the Beaver Cafe.
I thought it was the
had,
tater tots weren't notable.
Yeah.
They seem like ordinary sort of semi-soggy tater tots.
So you would give it what a B minus.
B a B out of A to C.
Okay, I thought it was low rent dog food.
Yeah.
Still had marks where the jockey was in it.
My biggest problem with it is everyone knows what poutine is, right?
At this point, yeah. For God's sakes.
It's French fries, cheese curds, and gravy.
Right.
They're putting
Occasionally peas
they're
or
putting
something.
goddamn scallions in it and tater tots instead of French fries. And I got the fact you
Rapscallions.
and there's I get the fact that you're okay, let's do something different, but it's poutine is inherently different. You can't just wave your hand and find you just can't find poutine in the city. So why try to change it to somehow be unique when it's basically already unique.
Well, it's almost too it's the kind of dish that's not it's so uncomplicated that like if you just add tater tots to it, like then you're just putting gravy on tater tots. It's not something that's like really earth shaking.
Right.
It's like
Oh my God! Everybody's gonna wait
gonna
till
go
the
crazy.
world sees this.
right, like wait till the world pours gravy on their potatoes like they don't do every Thanksgiving.
I was the first one.
You know, it was like what you were saying in the break. It's like effectively, it's just they're just sexing up children's food so they can charge more for it. And
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, it's like you're taking tater tots, like the like disgusting pile of soggy shit that you used to get in a high school cafeteria with your like lame ass like $1.85 like cheeseburger.
Apologies to the Parkside, their tater tots are fantastic, or they were.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, they were really good.
It's
just, I am always like a little bit like, I have my reservations about it because it always, like, once again, it like plays into that like equation where it's like, I'm going to take something that's cheap and turn it into something that's gourmet.
Well,
like gourmet tater tots, like those words don't go together.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, and in a lot of cases, I think like the more that something's gourmet and the more that I actually like it is usually like depends on how much salt is on it. So it's like if they're just really
true.
oversalted, I'm like, it's pretty good.
I'm kind of the same way where it's like you can take anything and throw bacon on the top, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Like, hey, how'd they think of this?
What's underneath the bacon? Oh, it's dog shit? Still, it's
Like,
pretty
hey,
good.
like, best dog shit I ever had.
Yeah, like the whole thing about poutine is like they serve it to you in a container, and you should be able to like eat some of it with your hands, and then you typically have the fork for the really like sloppy part, right? Like this, like with tater tots, your hands can't be involved, or you're just gonna get gross. And that to me, I don't know. It just
Andrew, is there a funnier word than poutine?
pupusa.
Goofball.
Papoose good, yeah.
Pupusa is
good.
probably my all-time favorite food word.
Like,
It's like
Wait, papoose, what is a papoose? I thought that was like a...
Oh, you're
what
thinking of
the-
papoose.
I'm thinking of, like, what the Native Americans kept their kids
Yeah, it's a
in.
papoose.
no, it's basically
Papoose, right?
a muff stuffed with cheese.
And what's a moccasin?
What?
And what the hell's a moccasin? No, moccasin's a shoe, right? Wait, muckluck. What about muckluck?
Mukluk? What's that? Is that
That's
a food?
No, it's like a Indian word for something.
What about a potlatch?
Potlatch is good. Wigwam.
Now, I know. It's so I love
Indians
how,
are hilarious. Let's go on.
We're not at an Indian casino right now. You know that, right? I love how everything devolves. Where it's like, what's the funniest Native American like word you know? Go. Let's go. Bam.
Let's go shout it on the 16th Street.
You know,
Wigwam.
I will say one of the best things about this bar is that, like, you're talking about like bar dynasties that are like sort of taking over the mission, right?
Yeah.
You have those like trick dog assholes, like, oh god.
Wait. What's their name?
Trick dog assholes.
Oh, should I can't remember their names.
No, they had
Yeah, bon vivant.
Oh, the bon vivant, like
Bon
gentlemen.
vivant.
Oh, Jesus Christ! They set themselves up
Who's better,
for that.
Bon vivant or Bon Hiver?
Neither.
Bon vivant.
I forget which comic said this, but like somebody said that Bon Iver is like the Jack Johnson of Wisconsin. Like that's so goddamn perfect.
All right.
Well, like basically, you have like all these like bar dynasties, like the Bon Vivants or Vivants or whatever the hell. You have the like guys from Dalva that are opening up a new bar. You have these like certain regimes that seem to like regimes. Jesus Christ! Like this is the Nazi
regime,
party.
yeah.
They're fucking bar owners. Anyways, but you
Fascists.
basically
It
you
goes
basically
these
have
guys, and then maybe like
Mussolini.
like Kim Jong Un.
and then the owners of Trick Dog. Yeah.
I'm gonna see like Dennis Rodman on some crazy rant about like all the bar owners in San Francisco.
He's like, my friend Joey Devine had this great tweet, and I know this is like a 21st century thing to say, a great tweet, but when Hugo Chavez died, he said, I'm so sad that Hugo Chavez died before Dennis Rodman got a chance to meet him.
That's pretty good. But like, yeah, basically, they are like as you said, they lost like Unresolved Love Life of Evelyn Lee.
Yeah.
Like they took over Thieves Tavern on 14th Street. They're kind of getting pushed out of
I
there
didn't know
too.
that they took that.
Are they
that
getting
over.
pushed out of there as well?
Yeah, because they used
But
to.
that's the
I
home
like
of
that place.
our favorite bartender in the world,
Rob.
Rob.
But like basically they like went around, they fucked up so much shit that all like they're
But-
just like well, why don't we again, like the whole
Maybe they sort
terrible
of got
thing,
like
they're
their balls handed to them, and like now they'll be good. Like they're like, oh,
Yeah, maybe they
like,
learned
they
we
were-
bit off more than we could chew. Sorry, we'll just like
They're
you
just
know.
like they were like, let's just concentrate our
making poutine.
terribleness in this one bar. And like like we're terrible at the food, we gave that up. We're terrible at Mission Hill Saloon, we gave that up. We're terrible at Thieves Tavern, we gave that up. We're terrible at bartending at Dear Mom, but at least people still go to us because that's the place where the Academy of like the shitty Academy of Art students that like all the like horny guys with the pink thing
Don't you at
hanging
least
out
like
of their pants like
don't you at
wanna,
least
like,
give them
bump.
points for like their whimsical like milk and like cow like you know.
I don't give them
They're like
points for
placeholders?
shit. They're like, dude, like this place just like. They have Edison light bulbs for Christ's sakes. This place, like, have you no fucking respect? Like, this place is like, it's a cliche of like every terrible bar aesthetic there is.
Kevin
Like,
must like listen to our show because like we have railed against Edison light bulbs. Where it's just
Edison light bulbs are like the fucking dumbest fucking light bulb possible. I mean, I never thought there would be a light bulb that would ever
would-
make me so opinionated in my life. It's a fucking light bulb. It's awesome. It like illuminates the world at night. It's a great thing. Yet they managed to take this wonderful invention.
Like we faded
this
out like
technology-
5 minutes ago, right?
where like if you
Yeah.
if you went back in time and told like young Kevin, you're gonna have a really strong opinion about light bulbs.
Right.
I would have just like jumped off a bridge. I would like
You will move to San Francisco and bitch about light bulbs a lot. Oh, all right.
To me, it's like how people fixate on the Google bus, even though the Google bus isn't the problem. The Edison light bulbs aren't the problem. It's just indicative that your bar is shitty.
You ever been on
Okay.
a Google bus that had Edison light bulbs in it?
You're,
Man, that
you're charging
fucking pisses me off.
you're charging $3 more for a simple beer and shot special. Like
Right.
you're like the Edison light bulb screams overpriced, terrible clientele, doesn't know how to serve a drink in a prompt manner. You know, probably you're gonna incorporate mason jars somehow. You know, like, it's just like this. Fuck.
All right.
And then there's the poutine.
wait, so we're
They
gonna-
have Big Buck Hunter. I'll give him credit there.
You're gonna go last, okay? So we're gonna wrap this up.
Are we
Andrew, what
giving
is
a
your
grade?
final analysis of this bar? And I want Kevin to go last because no one knows how he's gonna sway.
He'll be the swing vote. I don't. You know what? This could entirely be the time of day. You know, not being exposed to the real clientele, quote unquote, of this place. But
Oh,
I don't have a problem with it.
really? You're gonna go? But
go thumbs
are
up.
you positive or are you
Yeah, I think
thumbs to the side?
No, I think a little up.
A little?
Yeah, like
Well,
I'd, I'd come back and try it again. But you know what? I'd be prepared to be disappointed.
Yeah, have a big meal because you're gonna shit on the floor.
That's right.
I am going to say I live kind of in this neighborhood and I never come here.
Yeah.
And like for me, the big thing is the clientele. It's like if I'm gonna go out and like I'm like, oh, maybe I will go and like meet somebody like in the neighborhood. Like
Yeah,
some
you're not gonna
cool
run
people.
anybody, like,
you're never
tolerable
gonna
here.
meet it. I mean, like if you're gonna come to this bar, come with a bunch of friends because everybody you meet's gonna be a fucking asshat. So,
No offense, everybody.
and also, hey, if fucking Dear Mom is listening right now, fix your fucking pinball table.
Yeah.
You have a fucking pinball table that's been broken for 6 months. Get
You're
off
the-
your ass. Stop.
You're the disgrace of the pinball community. Like everybody knows it.
Take
Well, they have a great machine too. The Theater of Magic was
Right.
a fucking phenomenal pinball machine.
Take
And
0.8 seconds out of your fucking day and call Rainbow and have them come down and fix it. Okay?
I'm telling you, it's on purpose. Broken pinball's the next fucking thing, and you know, you guys aren't even aware of it yet.
And Kevin?
Oh yeah.
Dog shit.
All right.
Place
That's
fucking dog shit.
that's
like
the SFBarkast for this week.
That's what it is. It's a giant Great Dane that took a dump right in front of your front
also had
doorstep.
a huge
Yeah.
meal beforehand.
It ate a big bunch of beans and
solid
chocolate.
food.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
oh,
like
okay,
a
all right.
diuretic, monstrous Great Dane shit in front of your doorstep, whose owner wouldn't pick it up.
Broke into some like dry ramen packets.
Oh,
They all
yeah.
swelled in his stomach.
Yeah. That said, I appreciate the fact that it has capacity for 293 assholes that aren't in other bars I like.
I was like so waiting for you to be like, yeah, this place is total dog shit. B+.
Recommended.
I will throw a bone here to them. They do have some food pop-ups that like I do think the food is legitimately good.
Sure.
I think Big Buck Hunter, like any bar that has Big Buck Hunter, that's an instant plus. That's it. That's all I got. That's all I can give them. They still fail miserably in
The floors
places
and walls seem solid. If you're worried about
Exactly,
buildings caving in,
Poured concrete down there.
exactly. Like,
Very solid.
you are. You're not going to be able to tunnel out.
Here's
but
you know what? Here's an example that's indicative of what this bar is.
indicative. Okay.
When they first opened, they didn't have any stalls in any of the bathrooms, including the women's room. So it was just like a bunch of toilets,
Like a prison.
And so you could all see. Yeah, it was like shitting in a prison. Only you're in a bar that has Edison light bulbs and charges $8 for a beer and a shot. So it was like you had to suffer the indignity of like, I'm assuming if you're a
Dear
girl,
Mom.
you like guys, they don't like defecating or
Well,
sitting
Dear
squatting
Mom,
on a toilet.
I wish everyone couldn't see me shitting right now.
Well, I will say, Edison light bulbs really do loosen up your stool if you're in the bathroom.
That's right. You don't need a bright like.
And also, I just want to let you know, I ran into you last night, and I feel like this is the second conversation we've had about taking dumps in bars.
Yeah.
and this one is manageable. The men's room.
The bathroom. Well, I was gonna say they've since corrected the situation,
Right.
but it was like the kind of thing where they had to like take their lackeys at mission and send out a press release and say like, hey ladies, by the way, we fixed our bathroom situation, so now you can just crap out our diarrhea spawning food into our toilets in peace.
We're still working on the Berlin style ping pong.
Yeah.
But until then, the bathroom's still working. Come down here and take a dump.
And we should say that if Dear Mom wants to hire Kevin to write copy for them, for any advertising projects they have coming up,
He's ready to go.
he's at Uptown Almanac and can be contacted there.
All right, you ready? Are we done? Do
I
you
think
have
that-
any more vitriol?
No,
Are we- you up?
I feel like at this point it'd just be like throwing another. I'd be like Peyton Manning throwing another interception at this point. It's just
Are we
like-
done? I don't know. Are the Seahawks still world champions?
World champions.
All right.
Yeah, poor Peyton Manning. I would say the only thing I'm looking forward to tomorrow is hearing all the people reevaluate Peyton Manning as the greatest quarterback of all time.
I will.
Second to his brother. In Super Bowls.
His brother's just what are these two things on my fingers? Oh, you only have one?
Ouch.
I can't.
So
wait
heavy.
I normally hate Facebook because but I cannot wait to go home because I'm friends with a bunch of my Boston friends on Facebook, but not on Twitter. So Twitter was just a bunch of people being like, oh man, still fuck the Seahawks because the 49ers, which is fair.
Right.
But I know back home, everyone's gonna be all my Boston friends are gonna be like, ha ha, Peyton, you fucking suck. And I just I cannot wait to read it.
I saw my friends on Facebook, and all those people back there just fucking really laying into Manning.
Yeah.
Although even and like I said, I don't have any skin in this game. But as just a football fan, I'm just yes, the Seahawks are gonna win.
Right.
And the fact that they were underdogs, the fucking
More money for me, the imaginary gambler that should have put money down.
the weirdest point spread in recent memory. I'll just say that. And congratulations to the Seattle and the Seahawks.
Yeah, hey, good for them.
Andrew, you got anything
Good
else?
for I don't know, Bill Gates. About time something broke his way.
Bill Gates?
Well, and
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
Allen
Allen.
and everybody else in Seattle.
Paul Allen.
Good
I'm
job.
sure Bill Gates will get some money out of it. You don't think Paul Allen's gonna be like,
Do you think
here's a
Bill-
little something for you, Bill?
Do you think Macklemore texts texted some guy, like musician from Denver, and said like, "Oh, you were robbed. You totally deserved it," and then screenshot it and posted it to Instagram.
All right,
Probably.
name me any musician from Denver.
John Denver?
No, he's from New York.
Oh, was he? Okay.
That John Denver was full of shit, by the way.
I can't.
I know, like nothing comes to mind.
Like, I don't know, Bob Seger's brother?
I have no idea.
We'll find out.
Wow.
Hey,
Like the three of us can't think of a single
listeners,
musician.
tell us your favorite Denver musician. We'll pick the best one, and we'll pick the one.
I
Yeah.
imagine
I'm
it'd be
worried
like
that
some.
like people are gonna like write in and be like, "Motherfuckers! Like you didn't know Deep
Like,
Purple was from
You
like,
fucking,
Colorado."
Creed's from Denver, you son of a bitch.
I would imagine that some like band, like group associated with like snowboarding culture, like Cottonmouth Kings or something, would be from Denver.
Yeah.
But like, I don't have anything solid. I
Matchbox
can't.
20 or some shit like that.
All right, enough. Let's
All right,
let's kill
wrap
this.
it up. Kevin, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks
Of course.
for having
Andrew,
me.
As always,
congratulations on your first Super Bowl. Like I know, like
I feel like I've been congratulated too much for something that I had no
you had
involvement in other than.
You had very little to do with it,
Right.
but like you're a fan, so there you go.
I enjoyed the fact that it really wasn't in doubt from the moment that first opening snap sailed over Peyton's head.
I know. Oh my god.
It's like,
was,
it's all
was
downhill
that like
from here.
not like an omen of things to come?
Exactly. Sign from the Native American bird gods.
Again with the Native Americans. Save it for next time.
Exactly.
All right, this is SFBarkast. We'll see you next. We're signing off from Dear Mom.
Dear Mom.
See ya.
Bye, Mom.